Growing up, I remember my mother saying to me, maybe when I was 5 or 6 years old, that she had basically 4 rules that I had to live by. Listen to me and your father was the first one. Be nice to your brother and sister, the second. The third, behave in school. And the fourth, eat your vegetables. Rules that are not very hard to follow, but at the time there were challenges to all 4. But life was wonderful when the rules were obeyed, and there were problems when there were infringes. But we hear in the gospel today that Jesus issues basically as well 4 commandments. Love your enemies, do good to those who hate you, bless those who curse you, pray for those who maltreat you. And Jesus does not proclaim, I think, unrealistic ideals. He lived what he proclaimed. Jesus ate with and reached out to those Pharisees who opposed him. He gave of himself to those who begged for healing or forgiveness. Even at the moment of his arrest, he reaches out and heals the wounded servant of the high priest while calling for an end to any violent resistance. And we remember too the dying Jesus saying, "Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they do." These commands can sometimes, if they're not understood, be dismissed as perhaps unrealistic, or maybe even worse, used by the powerful to exploit the weak. And even in Scripture itself, we hear slaves are told to love their masters, and abused spouses are often told to react with love and forgiveness. But a true meaning of the love command includes not to ignore evil and violence, but rather to act in imitation of God's love by freeing enemies of their hatred and destructiveness, to turn the obedient to the wisdom of God. In his final words to his disciples, the risen Lord sends them to proclaim conversion, the forgiveness of sins. And in that, we are reminded evil is not to rule human life, but rather love and mercy and forgiveness.